to help people to have jobs, because quite frankly, it costs a whole lot more to put them in prison than it costs to get taxes from them if they're working.
And the sad thing was when he said it just blew everybody away. One of the guys said, he said, you know what, I was better off in prison.
You know, you know, and that's a sad commentary because the truth of the matter is there's a $51 billion prison industrial complex in this country, you know, and it's a business, you know, and so there are incentives for people to go to jail, including, you know, we should find more incentives, in my mind, for educating our children rather than miseducating our children so that they end up going to jail, or not educating them while they're in jail so that they end up back in jail. You know, there's been so many trade programs that have been removed from prison that would make people productive when they're on their way out. A lot of the barbers around here, they're ex-offenders, but they learn to cut hair in prison, you know? So if you learn to cut here and you learn to do other things while you're in prison, then that might make you more productive when you get out. So.
No, I'm sorry.
Piggyback
on hers?
Yours was a follow-up question?
Yeah, I was just curious about, I mean, it's a parallel issue, I think, but the mental health system, I think that also has similar. And then people find themselves more comfortable in like the hospital or in kind of a transition program, but that transition program kind of becomes an end for them, and it doesn't quite
sure.
help them to transition.
Sure. I think that's a great point. Yeah. So.
I think also there's a real disturbing survey that for them to be able to build prisons, they look at the third graders' education.
Absolutely.
To then start building prisons.
Yeah.
Now you're already giving up on these children, and they're just passing third grade because they're not at a certain level. They're not reading. They're not getting. They don't know how to read yet, or they can't do simple things.
But what that shows you also, though, is that there's stuff that can be done before kids get to the third grade. I mean, there's a program called the Institutes for the Advancement of Human Potential, and they're just on the outside of Philadelphia. Okay, it started about 40 years ago, and it started actually with kids who were brain damaged, right? And so you can take kids who are brain damaged, and you can teach them to read, to write, to swim, to do math, to play the violin, to act in plays. We're talking 4- and 5-year-old kids, 3-year-old kids who are playing the violin. Can you imagine? Right? There are programs in Japan where whole orchestras of 3-year-olds are playing the violin. Can you imagine? And you have 8- and 9-year-old kids who can't read? That's a problem. Kids need to be reading before they even get into the first grade. Absolutely. No question about it. So there's so much that can be done at the educational level even before you get to kindergarten, much less all the stuff that has to be done between kindergarten and the 12th grade. You know, but I do think that you bring up an important point. We have to engage our kids at the earliest ages possible. Between 0 and 7 years old are the times when the brain is growing the most. And when we can read to our kids and teach our kids and teach them different things, they can absorb it and they can develop themselves into productive citizens. So I want to be able to be one of the leaders with respect to education in City Council. Any other questions?
Damon, I just want to make sure, I know that the lady asked about the drought program. We wanted to let everyone know that because of changes in the law, both from the state and the city, if Damon is elected, he cannot participate in drought under the law. So he won't be able to, he can still he'll get a retirement. Hopefully he'll be there long enough where you let him get a retirement. But he cannot sign up for drop under law. Any new elected official that comes in the new council or in the new city government, they can't sign up for drop. So he won't be a drop candidate.
All right, y'all. Well, if there are no further questions, I just really want to thank each and every one of you for your time. Thank you for your interest. I mean, there's a lot of people who say that folks are not interested in civic engagement, and I disagree. You know, I think that just from the quality of your questions alone, it tells me that you are interested in civic engagement. You know, you're interested in whether political folks get perks or not. You're interested in starting community gardens. You're interested in what happens with people who are on parole. You know, I mean, these are critical and important things. And you're thriving in business and doing great things. So I just really want to thank Cafe Con Chocolate for hosting this event today. We hope that we can be back again in the future to meet you and engage with you. And if possible, if you have just a little bit of time between now and May 17th, I really want to ask you to be a part of my campaign, because this is more than just getting into office. This is about making a difference. And we have to do it together. So I'm asking you to be a part of my team so that we can get into City Council and make a difference together. Thank you so much for your time.